KUTV Prime Time News on this 15th day of November 2022. And we do have a lot in store for you in matters happening in the country, such as the nomination and rather the vetting of the PSs, and also across our borders in matters climate change, the COP27 summit happening in Egypt, Sharm el-Sheikh. We have reports on this and a lot more. But first, we get the boat rolling with something proper. Welcome to the broadcast that is also streaming live on YouTube on KUTV Kenya and on Facebook on KUTV Kenya. Also get interactive on our social media handles. On Twitter, it's _KUTV Kenya. Now, my name is Emmanuel Kutosi, and the sign language interpretation will be sailing through in the safe hands of Makrin Achieng. Now, President William Ruto today hosted his cabinet at State House as his government continues to take shape. Today's cabinet meeting, which was the second to be brought together and to have all the sectors together in State House, looked at serious matters that needed decisions to be made by the cabinet, including the rising insecurity in urban areas and prolonged criminal activities. To a worrying report where several people are feared dead after a 7-story building that was under construction collapsed today afternoon in Seasons area of Kasarani in Nairobi. Most of those feared trapped in the debris are construction workers. 5 people so far have been retrieved from the rubble and rushed to St. Francis Hospital in Kasarani area, bearing varying injuries. According to witnesses, the building located near Kasarani Presbyterian Church of East Africa collapsed at around 2:30 p.m. The nearby residents say they had noticed cracks on the ground under floors this morning and raised the alarm. A construction worker reportedly notified the City Hall officers, who arrived at the site for inspection and advised workers to leave the construction site immediately. However, the building supervisor is said to have asked the workers to ignore the warning and proceed with construction. The High Court has stopped the ongoing vetting of principal secretaries pending the hearing and determination of a case filed by the Law Society of Kenya challenging the process. Justice Nzioki Makau has termed the case filed by the Law Society of Kenya as urgent.
The vetting of the principal secretary nominees has entered the second day at Parliament Building. At the parliamentary vetting committees continue vetting the 51 principal secretaries nominated by President William Ruto. Today, 4 of the nominees have been vetted by the National Assembly Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations. However, the exercise has been barred by the Employment and Labor Relations Court, which stopped the ongoing vetting of principal secretaries until the case filed by the Law Society of Kenya (LSK) challenging the process is heard and determined. Justice Nzioki Makau has termed the case filed by LSK as urgent. LSK moved to court to challenge the public secretary nominees list unveiled by President William Ruto on ground that it does not take into account the regional and tribal balance. Before the court stopped the ongoing vetting process, the activity had been scheduled to run from 14 November to 18 November. Shadrack Smiu, KUTV.
And before the vetting was suspended, Treasury Principal Secretary nominee Chris Kiptoo told the National Assembly's Finance and National Planning Committee that if approved, he would push for the selling of the Kenya Airways to a strategic investor. The PS nominee explained that if a foreign investor buys a controlling stake in the national carrier, they will inject more capital and expertise to restructure the debt-ridden airline despite efforts to run it to profitability.
While appearing for vetting before members of parliament, Chris Kiptoo, Principal Secretary nominee for Treasury, told the National Assembly's Finance and National Planning Committee that, if approved, the Treasury will seek a foreign strategic investor to buy a controlling stake in the Kenya Airways as a part of returning the national carrier to profitability. Kiptoo's sentiments come barely days after Kenya Airways pilots called off their strike following a court order. Over 400 pilots failed to show up for work, citing mismanagement in the national airline a few weeks ago. Having served as a principal secretary in the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Cooperatives, and with a PhD in International Microeconomics Finance specialization, Kiptoo's background is highly anticipated to bring a solution to KQ, which reported a 9.8 billion Kenya shilling loss as of August this year. Kenya will prefer a cash-rich foreign airline as a strategic investor in a plan that could offer the national carrier aviation expertise and cut its reliance on the state for operational cash. Joseph Thoko, KUTV.
We go to the coast where Lamu Governor Issa Timami has taken over the leadership of the Amani National Congress Party. Timami is taking over from Musalia Mudavadi, who resigned to concentrate on his cabinet docket as the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Speaking during the handing over of the party, officials pledged to strengthen the party ahead of the 2027 general elections.
He is a giant of politics in this country. And the various positions he has held in this country surely indicate his stature. Therefore, it will not be easy to fill his shoes. It's a challenge, but believe you me, I am up to that challenge. Yes. We will ensure that we re-energize our party. I want to assure the party fraternity and all Kenyans that there is no issue that ANC will fold. ANC will remain, we will be vibrant, and we are there to stay.
We stream back to the capital, where with the spate of insecurity in the country, the Nairobi Central Business District has seen its fair share of insecurity cases. Many residents have taken to changing their routines to avoid being targeted by thieves. And alluding to this, the National Police has now vowed to take measures to ensure that the CBD and other parts of the country are safe from muggers.
Crime statistics have shown that gangs are targeting people of all ages, businesses, M-Pesa operators, and residential houses, according to a report given to newsrooms on Monday. NPS has listed drive-in foyer up to KCA along Thika Road, KCA Underpass, Total exit along Thika Road, Globe Cinema roundabout, and Kipande Road as major hotspots. The last few weeks has seen rising cases of violent muggings and robberies reported in Nairobi, with some of the incidences leading to loss of innocent lives. According to Nairobi residents, insecurity in the city has been attributed to an alleged misunderstanding between the government and the police.
Ni kama serikali imelala. Na serikali kulala, mimi naona the main point ya maskari kusembea hii kazi ya wizi ni wakati serikali ilianza kuingilia civilian police. Civilian walikuwa wanasaidia sana hapa town. Sasa ukianza kuwaingilia, mtu amekuja anataka kukuua, huyo mtu yeye asiuliwe. That means ya kwamba unampa right hand ya kufanya chenye anataka. Ukiangalia hii mambo ya wizi ilianza wakati walianza kukamata maaskari ambaye ni civilian.
On November 8th, investigation officers arrested a thief who was stealing from M-Pesa businesses known as Katitu. Before the police took action a few days ago to restore calm, fear had disseminated among pedestrians and drivers due to crime spreading in the city. According to this city driver, crime has affected their daily activities, where he says the government should be quick in ensuring firearms used by criminals are surrendered.
Nikiangalia vile Nairobi saa hii kumeharibika, juu hata leo nikitelemka niliona madamu mwingine pale karibu na railways ameibiwa tu, lakini wale wamemuiba wamevuka tu hivi pamoja na watu wengi wakivuka barabara. So kwa maoni yangu mimi naona hivi, kama vile huyu mkubwa hapo wa security amesema jana, amepea hao wenye wako na silaha mwezi moja. Hiyo mwezi moja ni mingi sana. Kwa hiyo mwezi moja bado tutakuwa tumepoteza watu wengi.
Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has also promised to work with the police to enhance security in the capital. The governor raised concerns about border riders being involved in illegal activities, saying they will need to register with transportation cooperatives and be given particular locations to pick up, drop off, and wait for clients.
We are the most crime, but this business has employed many people and many young Kenyans in this nation, and we are calling upon all the chairmen within the CBD to come and intervene on these issues, because we are supposed to remove those rotten people in ourselves.
Tensions now shift to the leadership of the police in the city to ensure order and safety in the CBD. For KUTV, I am Susan Wayaki.
Thank you, Susan Wayaki, for that report. And still on matters security, Adamson Bungei is the new Nairobi police commander following a shake-up at Vigilance House that also affected 12 other senior police officers. Bungei takes over from James Mugera, who is headed for retirement. The latest changes come in the wake of an increase in criminal activity, especially in urban areas.
I, Japhet Komen Chabere.
Even before the dust settles following his appointment and approval as the new Inspector General of Police, Japheth Koome has a full in-tray with serious security matters scrambling for his attention. Nairobi city dwellers specifically have in the past few days taken to social media spaces to complain of sudden rise in broad daylight muggings, pickpocketing and other coordinated thefts, thus turning the heat on city police chiefs. This could have been a factor that led to the reshuffle in the National Police Service as the command seeks to curb crime in the country's capital. In the new order, Adamson Bungei will make a comeback to the city following 2 years of service in Baringo County. Before that, he was the OCPD for Buruburu and Nairobi Central. Munga Nyale, who recently got shortlisted for DCI boss position, has been moved to the police headquarters as Director for Police Reforms. His current position of Principal Deputy to the IG has now gone to Abdallah Komesha, who recently just joined the DCI as Director of Personnel. Other officers affected by the changes include Boniface Maingi, who will now be the Director of Operations at the National Police Service, Rashid Yakub, new Director Community Policing, Judy Lamet to become Deputy Director Police Operations, Jacinta Mudhoni to be Director of Personnel. At the same time, former police spokesperson Bruno Shioso has today reported to work as the new commandant at the Kiganjo Police Training College, filling the gap left by IG Japheth Koome. Dennis Omondi, KUTV.
Now, the National Police Service has introduced alcohol blow on the Nairobi Expressway in a bid to tame drunk driving and enhance safety of other users on the road. While the 27-kilometer way has significantly eased traffic along the busy Mombasa Road, a number of road accidents have been reported. The addition of traffic police officers and conducting of alcohol blow tests is part of the traffic safety measures being implemented on the highway. The alcohol blow test will affect private vehicle drivers as on the expressway, since the government banned public service vehicles from using the route. if drunk and driving on the expressway, you risk a fine not exceeding 100,000 Kenyan shillings or a jail term of not more than 2 years or both. Alcohol was reintroduced in the country in July 2022 after being suspended in 2017, but it will be for the first time used on the busy expressway. We now switch gears to matters climate change, where Microsoft Corporation owner Bill Gates and the co-founder of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is in Kenya for a 3-day visit to engage with different stakeholders in both public and private sector. During his visit, the billionaire will concentrate on climate change initiatives in the country with a special emphasis on farmers. Jeff Mwangi joins us with this report.
Bill Gates, one of the world's richest individuals according to a research by Investopedia in November 2022, the benefactor who has pumped billions into projects aimed at improving lives and livelihoods across the world, landed in Kenya on November 15th for a series of meetings with government and private sector officials. On his first visit, Bill Gates toured Makueni County and was hosted by Governor Mutula Kilonzo Jr. Here he met with the selected farmers at Kalonzoeni and health workers at Makueni Mother and Child Hospital and Kalonzoeni Healthcare. On Thursday, November 17th, Gates is expected to engage university students at the University of Nairobi in a hybrid conference. Climate change and food security will be topics of discussion. Gates' visit to Kenya came barely days after he announced shillings 170 billion in funding for African climate change programs. Kenyan farmers were selected to benefit from the funding, which will be used to develop technologies that can help farmers predict weather patterns. The founder of the Bill and Melinda Foundation last visited the country in 2016. Jeff Mwangi, KUTV.
Bomet Governor Hilary Barchok has asked the residents to take individual responsibility to improve the environment so as to mitigate effects of climate change that is being witnessed in the world. The governor made a commitment to enhance environmental care in his county.
We must take responsibility as individuals. Bomet County government has put strategies in place to ensure that we make our own small contributions, at least to minimize the effect and the impact of this climate change. So we must take care of that forest, because we have a number of streams and rivers that flows all the way from Chebalungu forest. Some of them have dried up.
And indeed, matters climate change are taking perspective in all factors of the world. Also, the COP27 summit in its second week this week, as they talk on matters concerning the whole climate change arena in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. We take our first break right here on KUTV Primetime News, but stay tuned. We'll be back with our day's discussion. Be sure we have a treat for you. Stay tuned.
Utapata mtu ana nguvu sana, ni mtu labda anapiga hata gym, ni mtu ambaye kwamba anaweza kuenua hata kilo 100, anaweza kuenua vitu vizito, mfuko wa simiti ule anaweza kuenua. Lakini mtu huyu wakati anapolala, wakati wa swala alfajiri, amejifunika kwa blanketi, hawezi kuenua blanketi ainuke ili kwa ajili ya kwenda kuswali. Maulaya salli wa sallim daiman.
Unemployment has hit you hard. Your salary is meager. You decide to venture into business, but you're struggling to thrive in it. You would want to reap a big tip on how not to run into losses. Forget the preachy business blogs, the hyperbolic motivational speeches, and all the rules down desperation. Hope has come with model stories from small successful entrepreneurs. We tell you these tales weekly on The Budding Entrepreneur. Join us as we help you make your trade profitable and often smile to the bank.
Today I am at Jua e-bikes.
So if you look at our bike, it's quite competitive compared to Boda Boda, which is currently used especially for delivery riders. This is because unlike a motorbike, you don't have to use fuel. So you basically need to use 12 shillings just to charge the full battery to operate within a day.
This is the battery. Every battery has its own key. So you put it in, you unlock. So you get it out. You can take it back in. Okay, you get it out for the purpose, the charging purpose. This is increasing the speed, reducing the speed.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
People pa si vuguvugu. People pa ni idea.
Sazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, ndio inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni Duniani Leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
I'm a chef by profession. 14 years. I've worked abroad in many different countries. But before I went outside of Kenya, I was working in Kenya for around 8 years, and then I went out back in 2007. And I've been out for the last 14 years internationally. I've been privileged to work with very many different hotels in very different states of UAE, that is Dubai, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Why are you taking medicine?
Are you okay?
Yes, I am. The tablet is for HIV prevention.
Pre-exposure prophylaxis, PrEP, refers to antiretroviral drugs taken daily by HIV-negative people who are at ongoing risk of HIV infection to reduce their chances of becoming infected. If used consistently, PrEP can reduce the risk of HIV infection by over 90%. However, because it does not protect against unplanned pregnancy, it should always be used with a family planning method. To get PrEP and any other HIV prevention method, visit a healthcare provider. To talk to someone on PrEP, uliza NASCOP at 0800 724 848 or use direct line 0726 460 000 or 1190. This message is brought to you by the National Syndemic Disease Control Council.
Bila shaka, mbiu ya mgambo ikilia, kuna jambo. Na sasa, katika KUTV Rise Today, makala ya TBT. Tunaongeza kuni, tunawasha moto. Tunaingia barabarani kuangalia hali ilivyo. Takwimu za korona na kupa. Habari zinazojiri na zinazokuhusu na kujuza na kukumbusha yaliyotendeka siku kama hii ndani ya historia. Kisha na kuletea wageni na wataalam. Tudadavui, tufahamu na tuchukue nafasi yetu kama vijana katika uongozi, uchumi na masuala ya kisiasa nchini. Na joto likizidi, tunaingia uwanjani, tunachambua spoti ya Kenya. Ni kila Alhamisi saa 1 hadi saa 4 asubuhi, nami Vincent Maina almaarufu Ojwang mtoto wa Mariam, ndani ya KUTV, a new experience.
I am an open-minded person. I like learning new skills, new ideas. I plan to work harder and push myself to become better and better every day. And I plan to take every opportunity that comes my way.
Ready, set, time to be a fighter. Don't look down, keep on climbing higher. Be yourself, cause you're shining different ways. And when your voice can't make a sound, just know we hear you all around. Don't need to fit into the crowd to be a force of nature. 'Cause we're gonna be the best. They're gonna see that we were born for this. So if it takes forever, we'll take the world together. We were born ready, we were born ready, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was kind of an honor being the first girl to drive at that track.
I want to go all the way. I want hopefully to be one of the best in the world someday. But I want to take it day by day to keep learning my lessons, to keep failing and keep succeeding.
Alright, welcome back to the KUTV Prime Time News. And also, I'm going to remind you to get interactive on our social media handles. On Twitter, KUTV_Kenya, the hashtag KUTV Prime. It's time for our day's discussion. And I'm joined by an enterprising duo of David Fagan and Isabel Donadio Fagan. David is not only an award-winning author of bestsellers such as Gorilla Parenting, What to Say, How to Say, among others, but also an international speaker in places as far away as Dubai, Bangladesh, Australia, and well, Kenya. And to talk about birds of a feather, the man is married to Isabel Donadio Fagan, who is also a name to contend with in her own respect, being an author to bestsellers, among them 7 Ways and Big Ideas to Become Entrepreneurs. I may have mashed up that one, but also she's a co-author of Women Gone Wild. She's going to give us more concerning this as we talk about this. She's also the founder of Top Talent Agency, and today we get to interact with these fine sets of minds on matters peak performance. Isabel, David, welcome to our station.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to go straight to it. I'm going to ask you, like, how is your experience in the country so far?
Yeah,
It's great. You guys have wonderful people, big hearts, big smiles. They're so kind and genuine. We absolutely love it.
This is my first time being here, and it's just been a wonderful experience. Everyone's made me feel so welcome, and I'm just so looking forward to the remainder of this tour, the time that we're here, and eventually coming back.
And you're also living in interesting times. Maybe I'd like to also know, maybe concerning the activities that you involve in currently in the country.
Yeah, we are going around doing a speaking tour. We've brought some of our biggest and best clients. At Top Talent Agency, we represent speakers, authors, big-time business owners making a big difference in the world. So we've brought some of those best minds, some of those best communicators and inspiring individuals over here. So we were at Nairobi University today. We're going to be at Kisii University tomorrow and Kisii Polytechnic. Probably even coming back to Kenyatta on Monday, finalizing that now. So it's fun to see these students and their passion for life, and we want to connect them to the international business world and give them opportunities to kind of go to the next level.
And Isabel, I'm going to engage you now. Could you also share your reactions concerning the interactions that you've had with the students around the country so far?
Yeah, a lot of the conversations that we've been having have primarily been what are their biggest concerns that they've had, whether it comes to their studies, the time that they have, any stress levels that they've been dealing with, and sometimes even comes down to the monetary, being able to afford going to school and working as well. And a lot of the conversations that we've had directly with them, the speakers that they heard from today at the University of Nairobi, are different ways that they can engage the communities around them, and looking for mentors and finding different ways to independently find unity with their, not just their student body, but with the people around them as well, going to the faculties and seeking mentorship.
And David, talking on matters education, I'm going to ask, what is your sentiment? I mean, going back some time back, there was a review on your book where there was a noting that it was Guerrilla Parenting, where the Washington Post quoted a bit saying that, denoting that college as a waste of time in quotes per se. Now, I'd like to know if this stance is one that you still hold, and maybe you can be able to give us your perspective currently concerning education and it being as a way of paving way into the future of the youth, particularly in nations such as Kenya here.
Yeah. Well, to clear the record here, it's never been considered a waste of time. What I have said is we want to see people customize their education so that they can become self-reliant. And I think a lot of students feel like there's time wasted in high school, and there is some time even wasted in college where they're taking classes and courses that they maybe don't feel like directly affect them in the workforce. And so we want to help students take the classes that will get them the real skills. And even if they have done college, we want to get them into apprentice programs. We want to get them into internship programs, because so much of what they're learning is from textbooks that might be outdated. The world is changing so fast. The business community is changing so fast. We find that the most impactful thing that they can do on top of getting the education is very important, is to get into the workforce, even if it's an internship or an apprentice program.
And Isabel, I'm going to turn to you and also shift the question to you also in the same manner, because currently, if maybe you've been told about this, currently in Kenya, it was just something that was actually put out by the COVID pandemic. We are initiating a new curriculum, the competency-based curriculum, something that rather than evaluate students on their memory power, we're actually seeing a new system which is evaluating the competency, the ability of students to execute certain tasks. Now, it is within an age where we're moving to a digital age. I don't know, what are your views concerning the impact of technology and rather the digital trends that are emerging on the education system currently?
Definitely when it comes to the evolution of technology, there is always a greater advantage when you have the latest tools and tech at your disposal, whether it comes to studies, when it comes to memorization, even when it comes to group studies, where even if you're not able to meet with other of your classmates in person, you're able to call them, you're able to FaceTime them, you're able to get on some kind of online portal so you can still have that study time to get further in your classes. Another way that is great with technology today as well is that for me personally, I have dyslexia. So it makes it very difficult for me to read competently all the way through all the time. So when I have the technology read to me as I'm reading along with it, it helps with my competency as well. So I know I'm not the only one who struggles with that. So yes, as technology advances, there is always a greater way to develop your competency, to develop your memorization, and to get further along, whether it is in your studies or in a mentorship program.
Mm-hmm. We use technology quite a bit. Isabel is editor-in-chief of her own magazine, Top Talent Magazine, but it's a digital magazine. If it was just print, that kind of gets thrown out. So we use a lot of digital flip technology for our books, for our magazines. We can also track how far they go into the book, how far they go into the magazines. So once we know what people are clicking on and what they're reading and how much time they spend on those articles and pages, we can also give people better content. We also have an online community called Top Talent Academy. So we have courses. We can see how far people go into the courses, how much of the videos they read. Mm-hmm. And again, that allows us to get even better at the information we're providing people because we know about the click and the views and how long they're staying on and what they're most interested in. So technology is really helping us kind of track it so we can crack it.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to ask you this now. In matters that are on a global perspective, most nations are grappling with a problem in matters of their economy.
Yeah.
Even in Kenya currently, we have a very, very big problem with unemployment, specifically among the youth. Now, I'm not coming at you in an ambush mode, but David, you're my focus once more. Guerrilla parenting.
Yes.
Yes, there is something that you were quoted putting out, that the problem in society is an inability of parents to teach their kids to go after what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at matters as they are right now, and parents are out here and they are curious, how can I be able to facilitate my child to go for what they want? Because there is the aspect of not trusting that this fellow knows what they want to begin with.
Yeah.
How do I come about as a parent to settle into the fact that, or a possibility that, my child is going on a certain way and probably this is the best way, though I have alternative views?
Yeah. Well, I'm a big proponent of entrepreneur education, and parents want more than anything for their kids to be self-reliant. They want them to be able to take care of themselves. And what we're encouraging parents to do is to help their kids try different things. And there are a lot of parents out there that are putting a lot of money into education in a lot of different countries. And what we're saying is some of that money could be put towards helping your kids start a business. Now, a couple things can happen if they start a business. One, they could have some success. Or two, they could realize, wow, I don't know everything I need to know. Now I kind of better understand why I need to go to college. I need to better understand accounting. I need to better understand marketing. So now they have more of a genuine need and curiosity. So what we want parents to do is experiment with their kids, give their kids opportunities to fail. And parents are very tempted to rescue their children. And what I am a proponent of when I talk about in guerrilla parenting is just sometimes we got to let our kids fail, and sometimes we got to let our kids, not do well at something and not rescue them so that they can see where they're really at in the world. And then we as parents or educators can then start to fill in the blanks from there.
Mm-hmm. And coming to you, Isabel, like looking at everything as it is and the way David has put it out, the enterprising aspect, both of you come out as bestsellers, people who have actually been able to sell what they've been able to produce. Now, one thing that is of a major cause of concern is producing something, but bringing it to the market now becomes the issue, because the selling is where the money is. As in, if I exchange it, commerce happens, I get something back for it. I want to know your perspective, or rather your opinion, or rather your guidance, concerning how can you ensure you're proper at selling? How do you bring in those profits? What is the best way about it?
Something I'm a big proponent of is leverage. When you have a book done, when it's printed and you're holding it in your hand, you're sharing it around, what you're doing is that you have taken all of your knowledge and put it in a book. And the leverage comes from when you are in front of an audience, when you're in front of a group and you're talking about the things that you have excelled in, that you've put a lot of time and education into. So when you're talking in front of them, that book now becomes a tool for conversations. When someone reads your book, when they talk to you and they see the level of an expert that you are in your field and it relates to them, they hear what you're saying and they said, I need more of you in my life. That's when you find a client. That's when you find someone that you can take under your wing and train them and educate them. But the only way to really do that is to really get your feet wet, is to get that experience, is to have that knowledge. So yes, it does come from, some of it does come from college, some of it does come from, a majority of it from education. But when you are an apprentice to someone, when someone takes you under your wing and has that conversation with you, that's where the seeds are planted. That's where the fruit of your labor can really come into play. But really, the profits will come in when you leverage what you've done.
And Isabel, you also have a forte in content creation, things that even currently the country, with Kenya actually coming back home, with a lot of widespread digital coverage, we are seeing a lot of like TikToks coming about. We're seeing a lot of memes being made. And actually in Kenya, if you were to look around even on Twitter, we are quite a first world country in matters of dealing with and answering even questions that would be tough on the Twitter space. So I'm going to ask you this. This is a lot of creativity coming about even from the youth. How can such creativity be channeled in a way that it's able to even generate something now back to them? Because it's a hobby, yes, it's something that is enjoyable, but can't it be something that can be in one way or another income generating?
There is a possibility for platforms like TikTok to be income generating, but that comes with the terminology of when you become, when you achieve the influencer status. Some people often wonder, when you become an influence, what are you influencing others to do? Some of it is, buying products. Some of it is promotional material. But when you create the content and you're putting the work into it, it becomes an art form. That's when you develop a fan base. That's when you develop people who will consistently follow you wherever it is that you go. So if you are a singer, if you're a dancer, if you are someone who is just in business sharing your insight, again, from being an apprentice to somebody, you gain trusted followers that will follow you wherever you go. And so when you get the opportunity to be on a stage, to get in front of a massive audience, you've now developed such a rapport that they can instantly trust you and lean into what it is that you're saying.
You're both literal gurus in matters of writing. And I'm going to talk concerning the matter of the muscle of words. Looking at your books, David, you have a book, Word Genius.
Yeah.
What to say, how to say it.
Yeah.
And Isabel, on the other end, you have another one, Becoming Significant, how to invoke sacred words that release real power. There is a power in words. Now, looking at the fact that you're seemingly entrusted with this role of using these words in a matter of influencing people with actually reading your books, because they're actually able, as you have put it out, Isabel, they're able to absorb what you know through the generations. What do you think about this genre?
I think when it comes down to the language that we utilize from our family, from our friends, from our community, it directly correlates and impacts us because we are now striving to achieve more. No one is going to fight harder than yourself when you see the people around you and seeing the upbringing that you've had to overcome in order to get to where you are, to achieve that level of success. But words truly have an impact, whether you are speaking them out loud to somebody else or you're even saying them to yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you are not kind to yourself, if you are not encouraging to yourself, it will hurt your dreams. The same way if you were saying that to a friend, if you're saying that to a family member. Words of encouragement truly have a greater impact than any negativity that comes towards you or even you say to yourself.
David, I'd also like to hear your sentiments on that. How, because you're actually a speaker, you're using these words.
Yeah, so the book Word Genius, What to Say and How to Say It is really what we do for people. You know, we help business owners just learn how to talk about themselves. There's a real art to that. And there are good speakers out there that'll make you laugh or make you cry, but what is a really good speaker, what is a really good motivator is someone that can inspire action in every audience. You know, getting someone to click, getting someone to comment, getting someone to share, getting someone to register. And there's an art to this. It's persuasive writing. In our world, we might even call it copywriting. And it's an art. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs that get into business and they are serving the world, but they don't necessarily know how to communicate their talents. And so that's where we come in. We help them learn how to use different language patterns and delivery devices, emotional triggers, feeling phrases, so that they can inspire action. Because if you can't get somebody to actually do anything, it's going to be really hard to make an impact as a business owner. And that's what Isabel's talking about with TikTok and social media. One of the benefits of it is it takes out all the guesswork. When you start to talk about something, you instantly know if people like what you're saying because they're going to click on it, they're going to click share, they're going to click love, they're going to comment on it. So it used to be that we kind of guessed like, well, we think people like this, and we would spend all this money rolling it out to the marketplace. But what social media is doing for so many business owners and being a public speaker is doing for so many of us is we're instantly engaging with the audience, and we're finding out, oh, they clapped about that. Oh, they laughed at that. They liked that. I need to give them more of that. So there is an art to those things, and we teach our speakers that. We teach our clients that, so they can do this, get on TV, and they can speak in front of groups, and they can start to change lives. But change happens with action, and so that's what the book Word Genius is all about.
Mm-hmm. And we're actually running out of time, but fortunately, we still have some time, and we're going to use this time to allow both of you to tell us about the purpose that you are on, and rather the agenda that you have as you go on through your campaign, even across the educational institutions in the country, and your engagement with the youth. What is your message to them? Because indeed, we are in a generation, a point where we are hungry for information. Yeah. And the problem is that for one reason or another, there's an influx of information to a point that what is true and what is untrue, what is correct, what is misguiding is all there, and unraveling all this is quite a troubling thing for a young person. I know I am one. So I'd like to also be part of the audience for a moment and get to know where you're headed with this, what you have for us. Yeah.
Well, we want to connect business communities and talent all over the world. And because of the digital age, because of things like Zoom, more than ever before, we're able to do that. So we work with different media outlets in the U.S., like the Los Angeles Tribune or New York Weekly, USA Today. So we're going and we're meeting with people like you and talking to universities, and we're filling needs. The people in the U.S., they want to find new markets. They want to find new people to work with. They want to find out about cultures and new communities. And sometimes there's politics and bad news online. So we want to go out and make relationships with people like you and teachers, and we want to have foreign correspondents. We want to have boots on the ground so that when we want to talk about issues, we're not hearing it second and third hand. We can hear it right from the young people's mouths. So we're going to places like Kenya and Bangladesh. We were just in Thailand. We spent time in Europe. We hope to come back here again in March of next year, so that we're not hearing things from other people and we can connect these communities.
Mm-hmm. Isabel's sentiments and maybe how we can also be able to reach out to you as much as you're trying to reach out to us.
The impact that we've already seen is just absolutely extraordinary. The connections that we're having with these students, we see that they're hungry for education. We see that they're hungry for knowledge, for experience, for someone to guide them, not just whether it's business, but also having them connect with their passion, what they're passionate about. And that's what I love to see in every individual, but especially at university students. As we continue on, we just finished at the University of Nairobi. Next we're going to Kisii University and Kisii Polytechnic, and I'm very excited for that as well, and especially to be coming back.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, unfortunately, due to time, we have to cut it short right here, but we'll be following up with you because we also need to know what you're on about and everything that will be playing out. We expect to have some feedback to be able to know each and everything that we can be able to absorb from you. We take a short break right here on KUTV Primetime News. In a moment, we have more reports for you.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pepo Power si kuvuka. Pepo Power ni idea.
Sazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, ndio inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni duniani leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
I'm a chef by profession. 14 years. I've worked abroad in many different countries. But before I went outside of Kenya, I was working in Kenya for around 8 years, and then I went out back in 2007. And I've been out for the last 14 years internationally. I've been privileged to work in very many different hotels in very different states of UAE, that is Dubai, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi.
Why are you taking medicine?
Are you okay?
Yes, I am. The tablet is for HIV prevention.
Pre-exposure prophylaxis, PrEP, refers to antiretroviral drugs taken daily by HIV-negative people who are at ongoing risk of HIV infection to reduce their chances of becoming infected. If used consistently, PrEP can reduce the risk of HIV infection by over 90%. However, because it does not protect against unplanned pregnancy, it should always be used with a family planning method. To get PrEP and any other HIV prevention method, visit a healthcare provider. To talk to someone on PrEP, uliza NASCOP at 0800 724 848 or use direct line 0726 460 000 or 1190. This message is brought to you by the National Syndemic Disease Control Council.
Welcome back. It's about time to get sporty. Now, the Kenya squash team will head to Nigeria for the Lagos Squash Classics, expected to take place between November 21st and 26th. After an impressive fourth-place finish at the Africa Senior Championships in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe last week, Egypt won the team title ahead of South Africa, while Nigeria was third. Kenya beat Zambia 2-1 in their first win against the South Africans at the All-Africa Seniors Championship. The Lagos tournament will feature 20 African teams with 3 representatives each. Marathon champion Abel Kirui is expected to lead a strong contingent of Kenyan elite runners in the Fukuoka Marathon slated for the 4th of December. This will be his first marathon of the year, having last participated in the 2021 Milan Marathon, where he clocked 2 hours, 6 minutes and 52 seconds. Kirui will be in the company of fellow Kenyan athletes Kenneth Keter, Silas Toh and Vincent Raimoi, who will be making his debut in the full marathon. Manchester United are currently weighing taking legal action against Cristiano Ronaldo following his viral interview with Piers Morgan, which was viewed as betrayal to the club. Part of the club statements reads, Manchester United notes the media coverage regarding an interview by Cristiano Ronaldo. The club will consider its response after full facts have been established. End of quote. In the first publication of the interview, Ronaldo hit out at manager Erik ten Hag, claiming he lacks respect for him, while also aiming a dig at the Glazers for the current state of the club. Now head to Qatar. It is exactly 5 days before the kickoff of the much anticipated FIFA World Cup in Qatar. In tonight's edition of the World Cup Diaries, we switch our attention to the two South American teams that have vast support from football fans across the globe, Brazil and Argentina.
The national anthem of Brazil.
Brazil national team, often dubbed as the Canarina, is one of the most followed national teams in the world, taking pride in technically gifted players over the years, while also boasting of 5 World Cup titles to its name. But away from the achievements, there is something that attracts fans even more.
From World Cup 2018, I've always supported Brazil because I love their play style. But this time I was very disappointed by the way they did not choose Firmino with his run of form in the Premier League. But my friends told me that they chose Richarlison over Firmino because Richarlison fits very well to the play style. So they went with him, even not performing to the expectations like Firmino.
So for me, I'm supporting Brazil because it's a big team. It's quite a big team with five World Cup titles in its name. It's such a big team, and if you see the quality of the players so far, even club boys, any iko tu sawa. So I think Brazil is going to take the World Cup this time.
One of the players called up to the Samba squad is Dani Alves, who will reap the record books by becoming the oldest player to represent the Canaries at the global event. And to some fans, this will provide a head start to the arguably young Brazilian squad.
Dani Alves, even I was also doubting if he will be of such an impact, but I decided just to overlook because they have a great squad of midfielders.
I have seen that he's the oldest player to ever played in the Brazilian team in World Cup. For me, that brings experience to that team, so I would like him to play. Even Marcelo could have been, but his spot was taken by the likes of Teles, who is performing in Sevilla, and Sandro, who is doing well in Juventus.
Argentina is also popular among football fans, and this can be attributed to the iconic figures who have stepped in their feet in the squad, including but not limited to Diego Maradona and Lionel Messi.
Okay, kwa upande wangu nashabikia timu la Argentina na naona wakishinda kombe hilo la World Cup. Argentina wamejipanga, kikosi iko sawa, ukiangalia the GOAT mwenyewe Messi ako ndani, Di Maria na wengine wengi. Naona defense iko sawa, mbele iko sawa na tunatarajia kushinda World Cup.
Football analysts have placed Argentina and Brazil at the summit of the possible winners of the World Cup. And now it remains to be seen whether they can rub shoulders against European heavyweights and clinch the gold. Lincoln Chege for World Cup Diaries, KUTV.
Alright, and the World Cup Diaries close the pages for the KUTV Prime Time News tonight. We very much appreciate your valued company through the broadcast, and thank you for choosing KUTV to be your informer tonight. My name is Emmanuel Kutosi, and the sign language interpretation, we've been in the safe hands of Makrin Aching. Let me leave you with a word from the wise ones. It doesn't have to be that hard. You don't have to wait for things not to be hard for us to decide to be happy. Stay happy and have a peaceful night.
Sasa ni bora zaidi, mwanzo mpya, mambo mapya. Msimu mwingine wa Boresha Kilimo unakuletea teknolojia ibuka, kilimo mseto, uongezaji thamani. Teknolojia dijitali ya mauzo inawezesha ufikiaji wa masoko. Sokomoko yako, mahangaiko yako ya kufikia masoko yamefika kikomo, manake tunao Mkulima Yangu.
What Mkulima Yangu does is it connects farmers with the market.